Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Today I'm going to chat with you about something that is on my mind and maybe on yours too. If you are a mother of children, adult children who have their own families now, there's some interesting dynamics that I just have been observing lately, and I think it's useful conversation. I touched on this briefly a few months ago when I was staying at my son's house during my transition here with this flexible living arrangement, which I'll tell you about more. And I got a lot of really positive feedback. So I want to dig a bit deeper because I think it's super important. And that is simply that, as the title of this video said, our children are raising their kids for a future that we will not be part of. And I think that when you look at your own life as a mother, I extend this to aunties and other women that have links to children that are not their own, we see them through the lens of how we were raised. And of course, we've talked about that before. And we know that, everybody was struggling with their past, and it kind of goes back generationally. And so not only are the issues different today, politically, economically, all those things, but they actually are evolving. They're learning from the way that they were raised and the way that you made choices and maybe mistakes, that led them down a path that needed correction or needed some kind of adjustment. I'm never saying to themselves, I'm never going to do that to my children, or I will do it differently. I see the gaps. I see the gaps where in my parenting, my children see, things that I could have done differently. And a lot of it, you can't make excuses and you can't have regrets, because at that time we were all doing the things that we felt were important. But the bottom line here is that our children are evolving as parents, and they've got young children that they are raising to the best of their ability based on what they learned in my home and in our, as we were raising them. And then also their projections for the future, their understanding about the world that their children will have to, live in and make decisions in and work in. And they're different. It's just different. And I think for a long time as a grandparent, and I'm being totally transparent now with you guys, we're friends, we can do this. For a long time, I was being a bit of a grandmother who had, ideas and thoughts of how my children should raise theirs. I thought I could see gaps. I could see things that I could do better, or that I had dealt with in a different way. And I realized that there was a lot of pushback from them, and probably from your children, from your adult children as well, saying, let me do it my way. I mean, we respect your opinions. Margaret, we know that you went through different scenarios, different choices and whatever, but let us raise our children the way that we want to. And I think that when they didn't actually say this. This is not like words that they said. These are like connecting stories that I told to myself. I can see this happening and I need to redirect, my energies and redirect my involvement. And I think as soon as I started realizing or enabling myself to just watch, enjoy, comment, of course, engage, and offer my own unique, grandparenting skills with my grandkids, that was helpful. But trying to shape the way they were doing things was not going to be productive, and it was going to cause friction between myself and the people that I love, and I don't want to do that. So I guess that whole comment that our adult children are raising their children for a future that we will never see. I'm 77 soon, and I'm very, very grateful for the fact that I'm in good health now, and I'm feeling like I'm going to be around for a while. But 20 years from now, chances are. And it's not like that makes me sad particularly, but it makes me reflect that my children are seeing the world through that lens of 20, 30 years ahead. Now, what's going to be different? Well, there are some things that won't be different. I mean, what won't be different for me is that kindness, consideration, sharing, community, working together as as a country and as a city and as a community. That I don't think that should or would hopefully will not change. The people will still care for each other. They'll still want to help where they can and offer their expertise where it's appropriate. I hope that doesn't change. But what will change is the way that they work. I mean, we have to just look at AI, look at the way that technology is impacting the lives and the businesses that they may be going into. I mean, I know that, for example, there probably always will be doctors needed for us, but they will be doctors that do different things. There'll be doctors who are doing telemedicine, where they're not actually meeting with you in person. They may even have things like robots that they put in your body, little mini ones, that can scan your body for disease and offer therapies. I mean, of course, there's going to be all kinds of medicine that's developed, things that, like vaccines, for example, that I appreciate. That's all going to, continue, but the role of a doctor will be different. The role of a teacher will be different. I mean, a lot of us in our 60ME community were teachers. I mean, that was a very big career that old women in their 70s, 60s today went into. But that's going to be different. I mean, there's going to be a lot of online education. There's going to be a lot of homeschooling. I think that conditions economically and in other areas might change and shift. So we have to do teaching from our home. And I'm not going to be here to do that, but my son and daughter, we'll have to do that. So it's really important that we support them. That we don't try to interject. Well, this is the way we always did it. Cursive, good example. Good example. Cursive writing. Look, I just made a note today. I did in cursive writing. I just write. This is how I did it. They don't write. They type everything. I mean, my grandson Max and I were working on his signature because I said, well, you will need a signature at some point. You'll have to sign something, or will they? Fingerprints, I can pictures. Their world of identification will be completely different. I mean, when was the last time that you wrote a check on a piece of paper? I'll wait. I'll be here forever. No, we don't. We don't do that anymore. We don't write checks. I mean, when was the last time you actually had cash in your pocket? I mean, I do most monetary transactions on my phone. I mean, I'm just talking about society changing, but I think that in general, jobs of the future will be very different. So the way that kids are being educated these days is different. And also values. Now, I mean, I know people, say that the latchkey kids in the 70s created a generation of challenging psychology, and that maybe in the boomer time we had different challenges that just limited by the technology and by the world around us, but basically they are anticipating big change. I mean, I know that we all have pros and cons with AI. I love AI myself personally. I'm going with it. I'm embracing it. I'm using it. But some people don't. But our children see it. They see it. And whether they like it or not, and whether you like that they're on games online, Roblox and all these, kind of addictive games, it's the world. I mean, there are things you can do to give them a perspective and say, just something to consider. But let them be. Let them do it. Let them stumble along like we did. Let them make mistakes. I'm hearing my words now. Let them. It is the let them story. It's just allowing them to raise their children in a way that will suit the future that they, I wouldn't say project, because we all do that. Like what are things going to be like? But just how they feel suits their lifestyle. They may want to live in the country. They may want to live in the city, which may be totally opposite to what you think is best for kids. They may want to homeschool them. In my situation, as opposed to letting the children go to school, I can say, and forever, oh, don't do that, because how will they make their friends? Well, that's not for me to worry about now, and I think that we can release ourselves as older women from a lot of stress if we just let our children, our adult children, raise their children for a world that we won't see. What do you think? yeah, there's an element of sadness. It's just kind of like, well, I wish I could have more impact or more influence or more whatever, but it's just not to be. I'd love to have a conversation on this. If you've got any thoughts on this, it's based on your own experience or just on your a feeling about after watching the video and taking it all in, let's know what you think. Let's have a conversation. I think it's really a useful one. Hope you agree. Now, if you like the video here, please like it, comment. I want to encourage more engagement this year. I really think that in our social media channels, we tend to just skim over them. But if you can stop for a second and just leave a comment, leave a like, help someone else out with something they're questioning. Let's just take the time if we can to do that. Don't forget, we've got channels on the website. Instagram is called 60andme official. That's our Instagram handle, and of course there's my one as well. But so you've got TikTok. If you go there, I said Instagram, Facebook, of course, the website. We have over 100 bloggers who love to write for us, and they love to reach you with their stories and with their expertise. Go to the website and find them because they're not anywhere else. We send out a newsletter every day that links to new articles on the website, but please just give them a try. We need your support there because otherwise, if no one's going there, I mean, what's the point? Maybe websites are not used anymore, I don't know, but would love, I use them, but maybe others don't. Anyway, just give us a hand here to grow this business, keep it going, and know that we appreciate every single one of you. I do, very, very much. Okay, everybody, take really good care of yourselves. Lots of love.